Good morning. Thank you so much for all of y'all that were able to join the Zooms we had the past couple weeks. And hopefully, we will get better at those. And once everyone gets their cameras with the working microphones, hopefully, that will make a big difference also. But for those of you who were not able to attend, or um, for those of y'all that maybe didn't get on at the very beginning, hopefully this video will help with some ideas and just also some reassurances that you are not alone. And this is a struggle that um, is ongoing, and unfortunately, it's going to be something that you're constantly battling just because of life. So the first part is planning. Okay. How far in advance are you planning your services? Now, not everyone is an insane planner like I am. I love planning things. I love planning ahead. Um, I'm not going to tell you how early I bought my 2022 planner, but I'll let you know that I've had it for more than a couple months already, and it's October of 2021. Like I mean, I just love planning ahead and thinking through things. Um, and then because I just it helps my stress level if I have it planned and I'm ahead and I know what I'm doing next week. It makes me feel like I have a little more control if something happens or if the unexpected happens, that I'm at least prepared for what is coming, and then I can adjust as necessary. And I know that I'm a little insane. So while I try to make y'all plan things ahead, I also know that it's not something that's maybe comfortable for you. And the insane planning like me is not necessary, but you have to have a plan. And with y'all's jobs, especially with how it always seems that you have 1 month with 42 research versus 1 month with like two, if you planned ahead for that, it will make your month a whole lot less stressful. So while you may not have um, your services planned for 2022 to the date and to the day, and you already know what you're doing, that's why I've already made you think about it. So as you get closer, you're going to be like, okay, I think this is what I'm going to do, and now that it's a month away, I'm going to like set it in stone. um, you need to start telling your residents about services 10 days to a week before they happen. You cannot plan a service for the next day and expect a great deal of success. Um, People are busy. I know I sent out that email and um, little professional development article on one of our past, it wasn't this one, but on one of our past, I think it was the October service ideas. Everyone is busy and everyone thinks they are so much busier than everyone else. Whether it's true or not, everyone thinks they're busy. Um, and I know y'all are busy. Y'all have a lot on your plates. So you have residents that also think they're super, super busy, even if you see that they really aren't as busy as you. If in their heads they think they're busy, they're going to use busyness as an excuse. So if you've planned things further in advance, and start telling them about it and start advertising for it, that's one less excuse they can have, saying, oh, well, you didn't let me know soon enough. So try at minimum to tell your residents 10 days to a week in advance when you're going to have your services. For those of you that do the monthly calendar, that gives them a whole month ahead. And I think that's great. And then how far in advance do you start telling them about it? You might have planned it There were a couple of you that when you turned in your 2022 service plan, you even put the dates. It's like January 22nd, I'm doing this. January 27th, I'm doing this. Like some of you also have the love of planning that I do, so you already know what you're doing, but how far in advance are you telling your residents what you're doing? Okay, I don't think that we need to send out a year at a glance to your residents. Okay, they don't need to know that. They will forget, they will lose it, and it would just be a waste of your time and resources. Okay, you don't need to let them know things that far in advance, but you need to let them know 10 days to a week in advance. That's when you can really start pushing the services. Also, the timing. When do you do your services? Do you do it when it's most convenient for you, or are you doing it when it's most convenient for your residents? When we had our Zoom with the senior properties, um, I know Dora from La Posada mentioned it, and I know that there are a lot of other properties that they have a ton of residents that go to adult daycares during the day. So obviously, she knows that she is not going to schedule her services when half of her residents are gone for the day. Okay, and those of you at family properties that focus on the kids to come to your services, obviously you're not going to plan your services during the day when all of your kids are at school. Um, and like, let's be honest, the best time to have services on your property might not be the most convenient time for you. Um, but you need to make that a priority, especially those of you with the LURA, TSHAC, TDHCA required services. Like they're going to start wondering why you're having such bad turnout. And if you don't have the documentation to back it up, or if you're showing that, well, I had this youth program at 7 a.m., that's not the ideal time to have a service for the kids. Or I wanted to have this at 10 a.m. with my adults, and they were all at adult daycare. So you can ask your residents if you're not quite sure the time, like maybe send out a little informal survey saying what time of day would be the best time. When I was the after school program coordinator, we sent out a survey to our parents and said, what day of the week would be the most convenient for you to come and do an activity with your kid? We had to get families involved for our grant, and found out that Monday is the best day of the week for the parents because Tuesday is varsity sports, volleyball and basketball. Wednesday is church. Thursday is when most of the middle school sports were. Fridays also when more varsity high school sports were. So Monday was the best day of the week for those parents to be able to commit. If you want me to make the survey for you, I could. But see if there's a better day of the week or a better time of the day for your service. And think back in the past, before COVID, before our world went crazy. When did you have the biggest turnout? Like think about what the event was. And then also think of like how you planned for it. Was it a bigger event where you were really working hard and the residents like saw all the preparation, or you advertised, you had time to advertise, and then also think about the smallest turnout. And that those numbers might not have anything to do with your planning or your advertising, but just kind of do a self check. When did I have a lot of success, and what are the things, and then see if there's like a commonality or a trend that you can see that, okay, I have more success from these type of events. So if I can find a way to pair some of these qualities with these events that aren't getting great service, do that. And then advertising. How do you advertise? Do you only give one notice? Do you pass out the calendar at the beginning of the month and then you're done? Flyers? Do you text? Do you call? Do you go door to door? How do you do it? I know some of you have Facebook pages. Like, are you using Facebook? Are you using social media? Try everything. I've shared this many times that when I was in education, I sent out weekly emails, I sent out weekly flyers, I had calendars, I had pamphlets. I mean, I did everything I knew how to do. I put it on Facebook, sometimes I even put it on Instagram, and I would still have parents and kids show up the day of an event and be like, what's this? I didn't even know about this. And it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating when your hard work does not come to fruition or it is not appreciated. I understand. It is frustrating. So you have to just really make sure you're doing the best you can. And when you have an inspection from TDHCA and we have the stack of flyers and we have the calendar and we have all of this to show them that you worked your tail off letting your residents know about the service and 2 people showed up, at least you show that you've done your due diligence, done your best, and unfortunately, for some reason, you just didn't have a good turnout. I know if you were in the family Zoom, Davina shared some of her struggles, and she's in one of those situations that her LURA doesn't give her any options. Like, her service is this, and I helped. I helped her with a really big. We found a great partner that was going to give continuing education credits. We were going to provide pizza. We had beverages. We had drinks. We invited the entire community. We sent letters to all the local churches. We sent letters to all the local apartment complexes. I mean, we advertised the heck out of this event, and she had 2 residents. Okay, it's frustrating. It is so frustrating and heartbreaking. But she didn't give up. She's still trying to figure out how she is going to engage her residents. And that is my personal goal, is to help her figure out in 2022 how we are going to make a difference. And then, of course, I know y'all probably been thinking about this whole video, like COVID. COVID has made us lazier and has made us use more excuses than in the past. Obviously we want to be safe, and safety is our #1 priority. I do not want any one of y'all to feel like you are putting yourself in a bad situation for a service. And I don't want you to feel like you're compromising or risking your health for a service. We don't want that at all. And I don't know I don't know about your health. I don't know about your conditions. So obviously, like, that is a big concern. And especially if you're in a higher risk group, I do not want you to risk your life for a service. Like, your life and health is way more important than that. So obviously there is a real, true, valid concern with that. And then, of course, for your residents as well, especially those of you that have senior properties, you don't want to have a service with 42 people there and risk getting any of them sick. Okay, so that alone brings a challenge. And in years past, during cold and flu season, that always brought a challenge. And many of you had commented to me in the past that, during cold and flu season, your attendance dropped because your residents were more cautious or they were sick. and staying home. So that is obviously a valid concern and a real concern. But because this has gone on so long and there are very polarizing views on it, COVID has also become an excuse. Um, I know I did a Rachel Rambles on COVID not being an excuse, but it's so easy to make it be an excuse because it's no one can argue. Um, whether you say, well, I can't because I've been exposed, I can't because I have it, or I can't just because I'm worried about it. That does bring a challenge. It brings a challenge for you, for your residents, for partners, for resources. But it is super frustrating. I know that some of you have seen people on your property that say they can't do anything because of COVID, but yet they're going on vacation and they're not afraid to go shopping and they're not afraid to go to the football game, but they are afraid to come have cookies and coffee with you for a service. So it is a real concern, but it's something that people have become so comfortable getting out of things to do that you have an even bigger hurdle to overcome. I know I kind of got rambly on that, but it's a hard situation because while it's real and while we don't want to just blow it off, um, I think we can all admit that we've probably in the past year and a half used it as an excuse ourselves to get out of something we don't want to do. And so if your residents are using that as an excuse, um, we will to work through. And, you know, I send these out every month, especially the ones with the asterisks. A lot of the activities that have been uploaded on Redbook for these are things that you could print off and send home to your residents, or they could pick up in the office and take home themselves, or it's something that can be socially distanced and spread out or done outside. And, hopefully that makes people feel more comfortable until things return to a more normal state. And as JR said, he's very confident that maybe next year there will be a little more consistency and normalcy where we at least have a place where, the media and the news is not changing the rules every 10 minutes. That's kind of attendance in a nutshell. It is a challenge, and in today's world, that throws us new challenges. But definitely do some self-reflection and think back on your services, and think back on multiple services, the pros, the cons, and see if there's any consistency. And if you have any questions or you need any help, as always, you can contact me. But keep up the great work, keep plugging away, and I'll be back next month. Thanks.